Hello, and welcome to Dark Hearts with Stacey Lee. I'm so glad you're here with me today. Today, you and I are going on a date. I wish I could say it was going to be a fun date. We were going to get some drinks and have some food and a good chat. But you know what channel this is. If we are going on a date here, it's going to be a date with death. And sadly, that's exactly what this is. You and I are going to walk through several days of a video together. We are going to shadow a monster as he lures, courts, woos, and then kills a 22-year-old woman named Grace Millane, who was on a solo backpacking trip in New Zealand. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more from me. It helps a lot. This is the story of The Lie, the murder of Grace Millane. I'm your host, Stacey Lee. Let's begin. Grace Emmy Rose Millane was born on December 2nd, 1996 in Wickford, Essex. She was the youngest of three children and grew up in a close-knit family. Her father, David Millane, was a builder, and her mother, Gillian Millane, was devoted to raising her children. Grace had a warm personality and a deep love for travel, art, and photography. After graduating from the University of Lincoln with a degree in advertising and marketing, Grace decided to embark on a one-year-long backpacking trip around the world. Her journey began in South America, where she explored Peru and Chile before making her way to New Zealand. On November 20th, 2018, Grace arrived in Auckland, eager to continue her adventure. She checked into Base Backpackers, a popular hostel, and spent her day sightseeing and meeting fellow travelers. But Grace's time in New Zealand was tragically short. That evening, Grace arranged a date with this man, Jesse Kempson, a 26-year-old she had matched with on Tinder. They met at Sky City, a bustling entertainment complex in downtown Auckland. CCTV footage captured them drinking at a bar called the Bluestone Room. By all appearances, the date was going well. They laughed, they talked, and they even kissed. But behind Jesse Kempson's charming facade lurked something sinister. At around 9:40 p.m., they left the bar and walked back to the City Life Hotel where Jesse was staying. That was the last time Grace Millane was ever seen alive. When Grace failed to respond to birthday messages from family and friends the next day, concern quickly turned into fear. She had been in regular contact with her family all throughout her travels, making her sudden silence deeply worrying. On December 5th, Grace's parents contacted New Zealand police. Authorities then launched an investigation, retracing Grace's steps through CCTV footage. The cops quickly identified Jesse Kempson as the last person to be seen with Grace. You and I, are now going to walk through the entire event and what happens afterwards. New Zealand has an incredible public surveillance system. I'm sure some people think it's invasive, but it's much more advanced than many of the systems here in America. So come with me as we shadow these two people from the moment they meet in person throughout the murder, and as we watch the killer afterwards as he attempts to cover his crime. This first bit is Grace Millane leaving the Base Backpackers Hostel, December 1st, 2018 at 5:37 p.m. She arrives at the Bluestone Room, which is a bar, at about 5:40. You can see Jesse Kempson waiting outside for her. He checks his phone. This is Sky City, the downtown area, at about 5:45. He walks over to her and they embrace. They walk over together. And you can see them go up the escalator and down this corridor. This surveillance system is so advanced they can zoom in on individual people. It's really quite impressive. This is the first bar they go to. You can see him talking and ordering. It just looks like a very typical date. Then they go to Sky City at 7:12 p.m. They leave this first bar and go to a Mexican cafe. They arrive there at about 7:16. This area looks really nice. 8:26, Jesse pays for dinner. They check out with the hostess. And then they're back at the Bluestone Room at 8:30. At 8:54, you can see him sitting here at this table, and Jesse leans over and kisses Grace. Kisses her again. She's letting him embrace her. They seem to be having a really good time and hitting it off. Now, this is where it starts to get dark. At 8:56, Jesse gets up and leaves the table. And there's another portion of this clip that's really disturbing. I saw it on a site that's copyrighted. Grace gets up and goes to the bathroom. She leaves her purse on the stool, and Jesse picks her purse up and goes through it. That is such a violation and such a vile thing to do. Really a red flag as to what's to come. At 9:40 in the evening, they're back at City Life. He's got his arm around her. They're walking down the street together, and they go back into his hotel. Jesse Kempson was living at this hotel at this point in time. He has a key card. They go up in the elevator. And that is the last we see of Grace Mullane. It's now the next day, December 2nd, 2018, 8 o'clock in the morning, and we see Jesse Kempson get on the elevator alone. He leaves the hotel and goes to the Atrium on Elliott. He arrives at 8:07 in the morning. We then see him at the warehouse on Elliott Street. He goes into a sundry store. He purchases a large suitcase. Here you can see him paying for it. He brings that suitcase back to the hotel. He takes that suitcase up to his hotel room where he's living. And then at 8:32 a.m., he gets back on the elevator, empty-handed. He goes to Countdown Metro and arrives around 8:35. In this store, he buys cleaning supplies, tarps, gloves. He heads back to City Life, arriving at 8:40 a.m., and he's got those supplies in the bag with him. He's in his hotel room for 2 hours. At 10:25, he gets back on the elevator. These poor people not knowing they're on an elevator with a murderer. He calls a taxi from Surinder Kumar about 10:30 in the morning, and he gets into that taxi cab. Where is he going? To Apex Car Rental. He walks into the car rental, puts his credit card down, and rents a car. Then he heads back to the hotel. Again, this poor woman not knowing who she's in the elevator with. He's in that hotel room for hours. He does not come back out again until 2:50 in the afternoon. We see him walking down the street and he heads to Revelry. This is about 4 o'clock in the afternoon. What is he doing at this bar? You guys, he is meeting another Tinder date. This woman has chosen to remain anonymous, so the CCTV footage only shows the back of her. We're going to talk about this Tinder date a little bit more when I come back. Jesse is back at City Life at 5:41 in the afternoon. Now remember, this entire time Grace Mullane is dead in his hotel room. He comes back, goes upstairs after going on his date like nothing has happened. 7:12, he leaves again. He goes to Countdown on Quay Street at 7:30. It's kind of hard to tell what's going on here, but he's getting in and out of his rental car. And we see him head back up to his hotel room. At 7:50 that evening, he leaves again. He goes back to Countdown on Quay Street. This time, he rents a carpet cleaner. That's what he's pulling behind him. That red thing is a carpet cleaner. At 8:24, he shows back up at his hotel room. Did the hotel not wonder what he was doing, dragging a commercial carpet cleaner through the hotel? I mean, it's not an apartment, it's a hotel room. At 9 o'clock that same night, he comes back out with the carpet cleaner. He leaves and returns that carpet cleaner to where he rented it from. It's now 9:30 on the day after his date with Grace Mullane. He gets onto the elevator and he's got a suitcase that is very heavy, and on top of it he has stacked another suitcase. Pay attention to how carefully he's managing these suitcases. Grace Mullane is in that lower suitcase. He goes outside and loads both of those suitcases into his rented car and then brings the trolley back into the hotel. He drives away with Grace Mullane's body in the suitcase in his car. At 9:35, he arrives at Wilson's car park. And parks the car. We lose track of Jesse for the next 10 hours. This next clip is on December 3rd, 2018 at 6:50 in the morning. Jesse is at a store called Western ITM. Goes inside the store. He kind of fumbles around for a little while, pretending he's looking at different things, and he ultimately purchases a shovel. We then see him returning to his hotel. At 9:52 a.m. that same morning, he comes back out of his hotel room, he's back in the elevator, and he goes and washes the rental car. So at this point, he has taken Grace Mullane's body to the Waitakere Mountains, dumped it, and now he's washing the rental car. Then CCTV footage captures Jesse Kempson at Albert Park around 4:50. What is he doing? He is discarding different items into different trash cans. He's back at City Life, his hotel, at 5 o'clock that evening. He's all dressed up, ready to go out again for the evening. This is one busy guy. He goes more places in an hour than I do in a week. It's now 2:19 in the afternoon, 5 days after Grace goes missing. These are police officers coming into the hotel lobby. They speak with someone at the front desk. They go over to the concierge. And watch. Jesse Kempson comes up to the lobby as if he's going to enter, and he sees the police inside. He turns around and he leaves. Someone saw Jesse Kempson come up to the window and they informed the police, and now you can see the police running out of the hotel lobby. They chase Jesse Kempson down the street and they catch up with him. Although the arrest takes place off camera, you see the police realizing that Jesse walked up to the hotel lobby, and then seeing the police, he walked away. Jesse Kempson was brought in for questioning on December 7th. At first, he claimed that Grace was still alive at his hotel. He had left her there alive. But as police pressed him with the evidence, his story changed multiple times. Eventually, Jesse admitted that Grace had died in his room, but insisted it was an accident. Before Jesse Kempson was arrested, the day after killing Grace Mullane, he went on another Tinder date with a woman who does not want to be named. There is surveillance of this woman meeting Jesse for a beer. The woman later told police that she got a strange feeling from Jesse, and after their date, she told him she had to go home. Jesse offered to walk this woman home, but she was so put off by him that she didn't want him to know where she lived. She didn't even want him to know what her car looked like. So she made up an excuse that she had to walk the other way so he couldn't follow her and get a look at her vehicle. It's after this date that Jesse Kempson is arrested and brought in for an interview.
How did the evening pan out?
Yeah, pretty good.
We actually don't know if she's been murdered or not yet. She may be alive and well.
Okay.
But she might also be dead.
Okay.
Okay? And it could be that you've done it.
Hey, I just want to ask a question. Am I being arrested for something I didn't do? You haven't been arrested, mate.
I was like, holy shit. Okay.
You've indicated that you're willing to speak to us about the events of last Saturday. Is that correct?
Yes.
Tell me what happened last Saturday.
From the beginning.
Now, at some point in that interview, Jesse changes his clothes. I couldn't find the entire interview, but both of these clips, the one I'm going to show you next, are from the same day. Jesse finally admits to the officers that yes, Grace is dead, but that she died as a result of rough sex. You know, at some point, hopefully very soon, this defense is going to get played out, so much so that killers stop trying to use it. It doesn't work, but that doesn't seem to stop them from trying to use it. It's just, yeah.
I need to stop. I need to go.
Would you like some fresh air?
Yeah, please. I was in shock. I didn't know what to do. I went downstairs and I was just, I don't know, I was all over the place. I didn't believe what had happened. I was just terrified and scared. I thought that she had gone. I thought she had left.
Pathologist, specialist doctor will perform a post-mortem.
Yeah.
They're very skilled at establishing people's causes of death. Do you understand that?
Yeah.
Did you kill Grace Mullane? Okay. You're under arrest for the murder of Grace Mullane on or about the 2nd of December. You understand?
Yeah.
On December 8th, police found Jesse's body in a shallow grave in the Waiatakere Ranges, about 25 kilometers west of Auckland. Grace had been stuffed inside the suitcase Jesse Kempson had purchased. A forensic examination revealed that she had died from strangulation. The pressure applied to her neck had lasted for 5 to 10 minutes, which completely rules out an accident. This was a deliberate act. Let's talk for a moment about Jesse Kempson before we discuss the outcome. Jesse Shane Kempson was born in New Zealand in 1992. He had a troubled upbringing marked by family conflict and instability. His parents separated when he was young, and he was estranged from his father. Again, we see family troubles a lot in people who go on to become violent later in life. We also see family trouble in the lives of people who do not go on to become violent later in life. This is what matters, the conversation. This is how we learn about these people. By the time Jesse met Grace, he was living in a hotel in Auckland. He was unemployed, he'd been fired, and he was deeply insecure. He lied frequently about his background, often telling women that he was wealthy, or that he'd had cancer in the past, or he was a former professional athlete. We see that so much in the true crime community. Men who lie and make themselves look bigger and better than they are. Jesse Kempson's history revealed a pattern of disturbing behavior. Several women later came forward describing how they had dated Jesse Kempson, how he had manipulated them and assaulted them. One woman said he had threatened to kill her if she left him. Jesse Kempson sought out vulnerable women using charm to lure them before displaying possessiveness and violent tendencies. He created these elaborate stories to make himself seem really important, often claiming to have mafia connections or ties to wealthy families. Now again, Jesse Kempson was estranged from his entire family, so that's a major red flag. We see that a lot in the true crime community. When someone commits a violent act and the rest of the family members come forward and say, you know, we have not seen this person in years. Yes, we're shocked, but we're not all that surprised because they totally removed themselves from our family. Jesse was known to fabricate entirely new identities. He used fake names and fake stories about his family and his life. And lying about who you are, lying about who you actually are at your core is the biggest of the red flags. People who lie about things like their family, their childhood, their money, their life experience, run as far and fast as you can. The longer I do this, the more I realize people who lie about the very core elements that make up a human being, they are the most dangerous people on earth. If someone lies about their life experiences, their job, their accomplishments, their parents, run. Just run and don't look back. Have you seen Saltburn? One of my absolute favorites as of late. If you haven't seen Saltburn, see it. It's fantastic. No spoiler alerts, but the first time I saw that film, I wasn't 100% sure what was going on until the scene with the parents. And then I was like, oh, maybe it's because of what I do here, but yeah. Psychologists who have studied Jesse Kempson's behavior noted traits of narcissism and sociopathy, a complete lack of empathy, an inflated sense of self-importance, and a dangerous need for control. This man is a predator. He is a delusional predator. I mean, I can't hold it in anymore. I can't. I'm going to explode. Explode is probably the right metaphor. Why are his pants so tight? Why is he wearing a Simon Cowell-style baby t-shirt that's 3 sizes too small? Delusional. You have to be ripped to pull this look off, and Jesse is unripped. I'm trying to be nice here. Look, wear what you want. I get it. Everyone should wear what they want. But I can't sit here and talk about this guy being delusional without mentioning his clothes, because there's this woman that lives inside me named Petty Betty, and sometimes I don't have control over her. I don't have control over her or her mouth. I just had to get that out because, like Jesse's pants, I was about to explode. Plus, I like making fun of men who hurt and kill women. That's just deeply who I am as a human being. It is what it is. I'm just trying to be honest about it. Jesse Kempson is ordered to stand trial, and that trial began in November of 2019. The prosecution presented overwhelming evidence that Grace's death was no accident. One of the most damning pieces of evidence was Jesse's internet search history. After Grace's death, I mean like in the hours after, he searched the hottest fire temperature, possibly because he was considering burning her body. He made additional Google searches about body disposal, and he searched the location where Grace's body was later found. We also learn that just after killing Grace Mullane, Jesse Kempson spent hours on Pornhub. I have said this before. Anyone who can even think about anything sexual after a violent act, I mean, I've never been like actually violent. There's been a few times in my life where I've crept up to being violent, like I would throw a hairbrush or a remote control once in a while and I got really mad. I've told you guys this before. I was a yeller and a screamer when I raised my kids. I'm not anymore. But the last thing on my mind after being mad or something like that is sex. How can anyone do that after something so gruesome? Well, what I've learned is that people like Jesse Kempson do. The only way my little hood from the woods brain knows how to say it is he's got his wires crossed. There's something in the brains of people like this where the connections between violence and sex get crossed. We see serial killers with overly sexual mothers who grow up hating sex workers or sexy women. We see women who are molested by their father figures grow up to be violent against men. There are sometimes causes, but sometimes there aren't. Again, that's why the conversation is so fascinating. During the trial, Jesse Kempson showed no remorse. He claimed Grace's death occurred during consensual rough sex, but experts testified that the level of force used during Grace's murder made that explanation impossible. On November 22nd, 2019, the jury found Jesse guilty of murder. In February 2020, he was sentenced to life in prison with a minimum of 17 years before parole eligibility. 17 years. I personally know people who have done that much time for financial crimes. A horrific murder? It's just very different from here in America. Grace's murder sent shockwaves through New Zealand, a country known for its safety. Vigils were held across the nation, and Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern publicly apologized to the Mullane family, saying, "Your daughter should have been safe here." I watched a lot of press conferences regarding this murder, and I was genuinely touched by the compassion shown by the cops and the leaders in New Zealand. The Prime Minister cried during her press conference. The cops got choked up during their press conferences. Wouldn't that be wonderful to have leaders who shed tears for someone else? Wouldn't it be amazing to have leaders that show compassion and empathy? I wonder what that would be like. I think I'll have to move to find out. But I was genuinely touched by their very real compassion and their grief. Grace's parents established the Love Grace Fund, supporting domestic abuse victims. Though nothing could undo their loss, they channeled their grief into helping others, and that is always a beautiful thing. Grace Mulane's story serves as both a heartbreaking tragedy and a cautionary tale about the hidden dangers of online dating. She was a young woman full of life and dreams that were cruelly cut short by a man who saw her as disposable. Oh, it makes me angry. It makes me mad. Grace Mulane's name will live on, a reminder that the world must do better to protect women from predators like Jessie Kempson. Thank you for joining me today on Dark Hearts with Stacey Lee. I sure appreciate your support. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you want to see more from me. It helps a lot. And I want to give a very special thank you to my patrons. Your support on Patreon is what keeps me going. You know, I've got my podcast, Dark Hearts with Stacey Lee. It's on Apple, Spotify, and Amazon. And you know, we've still got our fundraiser going. Watch this short video on my channel if you would like to send a few bucks. 100% of the proceeds go to the cause. We are trying to help solve some cold crimes. There are thousands of sexual assault kits sitting in refrigeration all over the country that have never been tested. We are raising money. We're going to vote on the case we want to donate to. We're going to get that DNA kit tested and maybe help solve a cold crime. Even if we don't help solve the crime, we get that perpetrator's DNA in the system forever for future hits. I hope you're doing well, my friends. Spring is just around the corner, and Lord knows we all need something to look forward to. I love you guys, and I appreciate you. Stay safe and be kind to each other, and I will see you next time on Dark Hearts with Stacey Lee. Bye.